Hi everyone, welcome to a new vlog. As you can see, we are somewhere different today. We came to a cabin for a few days. We just got here a few hours ago and we walked in nature a bit, which you will see after this clip. And we just got back home. It became dark rather quickly, so we came back. Basically, we are here to relax and spend a nice few days in nature. As you'll see in just a bit, we are literally right next to the river. You wouldn't be able to see it now because it's dark. Yeah, we're gonna be reading, walking in nature, drinking tea, and I think that's about it. I'm already in the middle of a book, which is Bait and Witch. I think I'm 30% through it, so not that far in. But I brought two other books with me. I have brought the new Wild is the Witch by Rachel Griffin. I know she has another witchy book, which I'm not sure if it's part of a series, but this is a witchy romance, I think. It is about the witch, but I know there is a romance as well, which is supposed to be a kind of hate to love romance. Look at this amazing cover. It's so beautiful. It's really small, like 300 pages, actually. 308 pages. So it will be a quick read. And also, I brought The Haunting Season, which is a book of short stories by multiple authors. I've had it since last year, and I'm quite excited to read it. I know there's Bridget Collins, Natasha Pulley, Jess Kidd, Laura Purcell, Andrew Michael Hurley, Kieran Millwood Hargrave. But they're all ghostly tales. So the title is The Haunting Season, Ghostly Tales for Long Winter Nights. This is what I plan to read in the next few days. Hopefully I'll manage to read all three. I would like to at least. The short stories, they're also around 300 pages. So really not that much. And I think Bait and Witch is similar length. I made a tea, and my plan is to sit here and read for the whole evening, and then tomorrow to go out and sit out there and read, and then go back in here and read. And that's it. Probably see you tomorrow with an update on how the reading is going. But yeah, you'll now see what we got up to this evening. It's very nice and relaxing. I think you can see that I'm very relaxed. Honestly, I could probably fall asleep right now. But yeah, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Hi everyone, I'm back home as you can see. I've ended up not stopping to talk to the camera throughout the cabin trip. And so I thought I would include these segments talking about the end of each day, catching you up on what I've read throughout those days. Starting with the first evening. So I was reading Bait and Witch, sorry. It's a mystery, a cozy mystery. It follows this lady that is, she explains it in the beginning, so it's not spoilers. She is a whistleblower. She saw something at work one lunchtime and she contacts the FBI, and so there's going to be a whole investigation. And her colleague that was also a whistleblower with her, he disappears. And so she gets really worried about this whole thing and decides to move across the country and kind of be on the run for a few months. And that's how we first meet her. She found a job on the other side of the country and she's just arriving there. She gets a job as a librarian because she was a librarian at the Library of Congress, and she is now taking over this small library in a small town, as I was saying, because she's on the run. Not from the police, but from the guys that she caught making illegal dealings. That's how we start the story. When she gets to this small town, then the day after she gets there, she finds a dead body and she gets thrown into this investigation, and she decides to kind of try and figure it out for herself at the same time as she is helping the sheriff. I am at the end of the first day of the trip. I was around halfway done and things were starting to get interesting. You have a kind of love interest. The small town is very cozy, and the job as librarian it adds to the cozy atmosphere. And she is also starting to figure out that maybe something is different about her, because since she got to this library, she has been able to give recommendations to the people coming into the library very, very easily, things they wouldn't even be asking for. So they would ask for, I don't know, a novel, but she, for some reason, knew they actually needed a manual on how to grow plants. She's kind of starting to figure out that maybe something's different about her, and she doesn't really believe in witches or really think she could be one, but as we will discover, and as it's the title of the book, she is definitely a witch. So I'm gonna have to wait and see how that's gonna go from now. I will now move on to take you straight over to our second day of the trip. So see you in a bit. Hi, I'm back. I'm here to catch you up on my reading throughout these days. So you have just seen what went on our second day. We started the morning by reading outside and going to get some coffee. And then we went on a walk around some marshes near where we were staying. And then we came back to have lunch and just read throughout the whole of the afternoon after that. And so I ended up finishing Bait and Witch. I really enjoyed it. It was a very simple, cozy mystery. You have a main character that just moved to a small town, is getting to know all the people that live there, has to adapt to a new job, which she loves, and that's great. Then discovers that something is weird about herself, and also there's a dead body in the backyard. So she's trying to kind of figure out. She's definitely not a suspect and definitely not in danger, but it's still a good mystery. You don't know what's going on, but also she's afraid someone's after her, but it just never comes through as this scary thing that you should be very worried about her and gives you stress almost. No, it's very chill. I gave it around 3.5 stars. I thought it was a good book. It's the first in a series of cozy mysteries, relatively quick mysteries, nothing too groundbreaking. And that was exactly what I wanted, because I just wanted to have a chill time at the cabin around nature, and that was exactly what this delivered. And then I started Curse the Day, which is this one right here, by Annabel Chase. It's described, it says right here on the cover, spellbound, paranormal, cozy mystery. And it's also the start of a series. In this case, it's a 10-book series instead of Bait and Witch, Bait and Witch that has 4 books. I think actually just 3 books. The 4th is coming out next year. Curse Today follows a lawyer. She's visiting a client in a bit of middle of nowhere, and she gets into an accident and gets stuck into this paranormal small town. Very magical. Everyone that lives there is magical in some way or another. She discovers she's a witch, which is why she can't leave this town. Apparently there has been a murder in this town, and there's a vacant house now, and the person that died worked as a public defendant, having to start a new life in this small town. She doesn't know anyone. She just took over someone's job and their house. So she feels responsible to try and figure out what happened to him, because it was murder. And that's how it starts. That's where I am at the end of the second day of the trip. And so I will now let you continue to the third day, and we'll catch up at the end of this day again. to the day 3 catch-up. So today we went to a cemetery in the morning, a cemetery near where we were staying, and then we kind of walked through some roads around the village to see some of the houses and the autumnal trees. Then we had lunch at the same cafe that we had coffee the day before. I have to say, it's a local cafe, but it's very small town vibes. The place we stayed is right in the center of this small village. Or it is a big village, but the main road is very small. It has one pub, one cafe, one hairdresser's, the church, a cemetery, and a little garden near the river. So it was just very nice and cozy. And the cafe served these kind of biscuity swirl things with chocolate inside with any coffee that you ordered. Like, how is anything better than that? It was just so nice. So we had lunch at this cafe, and then we read near the river, and then went back home and spent the rest of the afternoon at home just reading, looking at the trees on the other side of the river and at the ducks swimming past. You know, just all of that very nice, cozy, atmospherical time. But I managed to finish Curse the Day by Annabel Chase. This one was shorter than my first book. I think the first book was 300 and something pages. This one was just 300 pages, maybe even slightly less. And so it was a very quick read. It wasn't as good as the first one. I think I was hoping for more. I felt like it was very quick. I would say it gave me fan fiction vibes. The mystery was surprising. I hadn't figured out that the person that did the murdering was going to be that person, but I wasn't surprised when it was revealed. I felt like it was very rushed. Suddenly something was happening and then it was done, or suddenly you see a ghost and then he becomes your roommate kind of situation, just very quick, and I gave it 3 stars. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I would recommend the other one, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend this one, unfortunately. But I did end up starting a 3rd book. Since I bought it a week ago, I have been really wanting to just sit down and read this because it's very quick. On the first day, I only managed maybe 10 pages. The 3rd day of this book, because I only finished Curse the Day when I was in bed that evening, and so I really just read a bit and then went to sleep. I think that's the end of my 3rd day catch-up. I finished a whole book, Curse the Day, and I started Wild is the Witch by Rachel Griffin. Very excited to finish that one as well. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, do the final update. Welcome to the end of this vlog. So on the 4th day, we really mostly just packed up, took some photos outside, just on the deck, and then came back home. But because we're still on holiday, we just dropped everything off, and we decided to go for a little walk, a little bookshop tour, a little coffee and some pastries trip. And so I didn't take a book with me this time because it was technically the end of the vlog. When we came back, I sat down for the rest of the afternoon and read a bit more. I didn't read that much, but I managed to read because I had to get ready for work the next day. But I managed to read 100 pages, and I'm really enjoying this book. I'm going to stop here and just talk about the 100 pages of this book. It follows a witch that had something quite traumatic happen to her and her best friend. There was this magical trial. She is not found innocent, but her best friend is found guilty, so she goes to prison. And then she becomes a bit shunned in the community for the whole situation. So her mother takes her away, moves her to Washington State, where they open a wildlife refuge. And this is a few years after that, and I think her best friend is leaving prison, and I'm not sure what's going to happen after, if the best friend is going to be involved, because they have moved far away from where the best friend used to live and they used to live. But I know that there's this young man that works for them in the wildlife refuge, and she accidentally curses him. And so then they have to go to the middle of nature to find this owl, because the owl has a... I don't want to give too many spoilers, so I'm going to stop talking now. But there will be a hate to love romance. Clearly they're going to get to know each other in this nature adventure that they're going on. But I am excited to know how this best friend is going to be mixed in with the whole story, because I can't see it yet. But I have only read 100 or so pages, so I'm still in the beginning, even though it is a small book, around 300 pages. This is all. I will continue to read this at some point, and I'll definitely share my thoughts on this book on Instagram. But now I think that's all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all your support, not only on Instagram but here. I hope you continue to support me if you like what I'm doing, and thank you so much again. I hope you have a very nice day, and we'll see each other next time.